Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Crew Call with me, James Battey, and Charlie Streeten, a recent graduate of the UKSA. Charlie, how you doing?
Hi, James. I'm really well. How are you?
Right? Yeah, good, thanks, bud. Not too bad.
Yeah, good, isn't it?
Very good. So, Charlie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I've recently graduated UKSA. I just finished about 2 weeks ago, and I really enjoyed that 6 months, really. So it's quite intense, but I loved it. I've about 19 years old. I've always loved boats, really, and sort of want to get into that industry, really. Yeah, so I sort of left school, and then I went straight into a boatyard in Cornwall, which I did there for 4 months, 5 months-ish, and I really loved that, and sort of thought, this is what I want to go into. I went into that, really,
so
and sort of followed
that was what basically gave me the inspiration to, like, I was going to say to you, what made you think yachting, of all the things, you know, when you leave education, is not something, in my view, when I joined, that I even knew about, really. How did it come into your scope?
Yeah, so I was working in the boatyard in Cornwall, and I sort of had uni lined up in the works, but I thought it's not really for me. I don't really want to go into that. It's not sort of where I want to be. So I sort of had a look around for apprenticeships in Falmouth and had a sort of wander around there. And I came across the Yachtmaster offshore at UKSA. I thought, that looks really interesting. I want to sort of have a look at that. Dove a bit deeper into the UKSA website and found the cadetship. And then I sort of instantly I was like, yeah, that's it. That's what I want to do. So I went to the open day with my mum, had a look at that, and I thought, this is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And pretty
that's
cool.
a commitment and a half to at 19 to be like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's some inspiration. All from one open day. UKSA must be doing something, right? I have to say, over the years, I've done a couple of courses there, and we had family friends when I was growing up who had a house in Seaview on the Isle of Wight, and kind of grew up sailing down there myself. And yeah, I really enjoyed UKSA. It was good. And I met Fred Wilson, who then went on to set up his own Fred's Oral Preps and whatnot. Weirdly, I was actually his first ever officer of the watch passed many moons ago. Exactly. Before they had telephones. No, not quite that long ago, but pretty damn long ago. Okay, what does the cadetship really involve? Because people watching this might not really know, you know, what you have to do. Do you have to have certain qualifications to be able to get on the cadetship? What's the process?
Yeah. Well, the great thing about the cadetship is you can have no prior experience and still do really well in the cadetship. So you go through a selection process at the very beginning, once you want to commit to it, and then if they think you're right for it, they put you forward, and then you get a place there. And then from there, it's sort of all working towards your Yachtmaster offshore. That's sort of the main aspect of it. But along the way, you do a bunch of other qualifications, such as like the well-being and mental welfare sort of day. That's really
important.
Yeah, really useful. Gives you a bunch of other courses. You get nav and radar, sort of SRC, sorry. And then you get like day skipper, Yachtmaster theory, and all sort of things like that. And with the main aim of getting a Yachtmaster at the end of it, but you do a bunch of other courses as well, which give you a really good sort of pedestal into the industry. It puts you above some of the other people going into it as well.
Well, this is it. It's about skill set and making sure that, yachting is definitely not for everyone. It's close quarters. You eat, sleep and breathe, you know, with the people that you spent all day working with, and it's a tough environment. In terms of accommodation, are you all sort of in one spot? Is it all mucking in, or is sort of some people in apartments and other people sort of staying with their parents, or how does that side of it work? Does it throw you in? I know nothing about the cadetships that they run at UKSA, so you're going to have to treat me like even more of an idiot than I am.
That's fine, no, don't worry. So they chuck you all in at the start, really. You get put in, you get assigned to crews of 5, and that's who you basically live with for the whole time. When you're on the boat, you're on the same boat with your crew, and you'll spend pretty much every moment with them, really. You get to know them quite well. They become your family, pretty much.
Yeah, that's a good reality, because, like you just used the word there, family. It is that, well, certainly for me with my crew, it is. I've got 4 kids of my own, but my wife always said, oh, yeah, you're going back to your other kids now. And it does feel like that sometimes, but it's kind of like quick. But it's so important to have that environment that's like everyone's pushing each other and looking after each other.
Yeah, fully.
So How many people are on that cadetship? I know you said there's 5 in each crew, but how many people get accepted into the cadetship program? How often do they run?
Yeah, so it's every cadetship starts in September and runs all the way through to March, finishes on the 3rd and 4th of March. There's around 55 cadets that started. This year there was 55, which is the biggest they've ever had in their history, which is really good. Sort of seeing that massive improvement every year and more demand for it as well, which is really cool. And so, there's 11 crews split into 5, and you don't know anyone pretty much. And so it's all sort of just straight into the deep end, going away on to sea with a bunch of strangers.
But that's a great way to set you up, because, bear in mind that you're coming into yachting, you're not going to know anyone. You might know, but the chances, my friends in this industry, I may bump into them in the most random island in the Caribbean and then not see them again for 3 years. And then, someone's on a bin run and you bump into it. It's a truly bizarre kind of industry that we work in, but a really rewarding one if you kind of get on the right boat in the right environment and you've got the right attitude. It's somewhere you can really thrive. So, I mean, the people within the cadetship, is it everyone from England, or is there multicultural? Is it kind of everyone and anyone, men, women, the full shebang?
Yeah, so the majority were from the UK, but there's a few from Antigua and a few from Europe as well. I think one was from Spain as well, which is really cool, sort of growing massively. And it's a sort of good mix. There's eight girls, I think, in the crew in the whole course, which is more than they've had before. But there's it's quite a heavy mix of male to female, but I think it's improving, definitely.
Yeah, nice. Okay, what other skills did you learn? Obviously, you're learning all the education towards the yacht master offshore, but are you learning sort of lines, knots, all of the above? The sort of stuff you need if you're looking to get into obviously the deck department. How teak, the different products that you have for stainless and all that. I mean, did you get educated on that as part of it?
Yeah, we do obviously all the knots and things like that, mooring lines and sort of different types of rope to use for different jobs, which is really useful as part of the yacht master as well. And then we did two different weeks of deck systems and then deck work as well. So in both of them, we learned to splice, sort of eye splicing and then crown splicing and different ways to splice really. We did a soft shackle as well at one point, which was quite nice. And I have that in my room, stored away, which is quite cool.
Yes, boy. I love it. Take your work home with you. Nice. Good lad. I remember too, the EDH, and my Toby, who started as my decky, I employed him when he was 18 just to help get us across. And he just had such a good work ethic and such a good attitude. And he's only an 18-year-old lad, and he's still with me now at 22. He's now sort of moved second engineer. And it's just so nice when you see that kind of first to get involved and then, the pushing himself and sort of getting on with his career. And he's now sort of he's actually mixed both. He's got the yacht master and he's gone down the AEC 8 1 and 2. Oh, wow. So he's kind of kept his options open, which, is a pretty smart way to go about it. Yeah. But was everyone within that cadetship today, is it down the yacht master offshore, or is it also you can go down engineering with AEC 1? Yeah.
Well, so the good thing about the yacht cadetship is you do AEC 1 as part of the cadetship as well. So the main focus is the yacht master, but you can do the AEC 1 as well on top of that. And obviously diesel engine maintenance, which is sort of an RYA day course as well. But you do get a lot of experience, both with engines on the boats as well and off the boats doing AEC 1. And I think some of us are planning to do AEC 2, including myself. I would really like to go into sort of the deck engineering side of things, also deck as well, but I'd like to get in on the engineering side.
That's I think that personally, I think that's a really smart move. I think the engineering is, probably there's more decent roles out there maybe in engineering, and it's just another sort of feather to your bow to have that behind you. And stuff, did you get into anything in terms of varnishing and stuff like that within the cadetship? Yeah, that in itself is a master skill.
Yeah, we didn't do any varnishing, but I've had a little bit of experience in the past. In the boatyard, we did a bit of varnishing on the boats as well, it took a few days to get right, but it was quite satisfying to get once you got it. But we didn't do any varnishing itself on the cadetship. No.
Yeah, varnishing is one of those things. It's an absolute art form. You're talking about Antigua. There used to be, and I'm sure he's still around, maybe not, guy called Chicken, who was from Antigua, and he was literally, people used to fly him in all over the world. He was Antiguan, and his varnishing was insane, because it is a true art form to get varnish right. And I know from the deck side, when we used to strip back cap and rails and everything like that, and you'd have to be up super early. Obviously, there's no wind, not too much heat, and no dust, and make sure, ideally it's rain the night before. I mean, you had to make sure that everything was perfect in order to get the ideal coat on. Yeah. And we had one time where we had got exactly that perfect coat. Everyone was like high-fiving each other, and one of our stewardesses, Andy, came out. She just sat on the cap and rail, and it was like, oh God, like literally soul destroying. But that's the joy of yachting. It's one thing we're very good at, is doing the same thing over and over and over again.
I can imagine.
So how is the job hunt going for you? Like, are you actively looking?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I've applied for quite a few jobs now on Yacht Spot as well, which is quite nice. It's good to see sort of different jobs offering different qualifications, different needs, and sort of seeing what is desired and what is essential versus what is sort of advantageous but not essential as well. I'm seeing obviously Yachtmaster offshore being not essential, but definitely preferable and ideal for the course, which is quite good to sort of have that in our back pockets from doing the cadetship as well, which is quite cool.
Yeah. And how is it with agencies? I mean, what are they saying to you? Because it's really not easy. And obviously being green, supposedly, but obviously with your experience in a boatyard in Falmouth and doing the cadetship and getting exposure. So, I mean, to be honest, not many deckies that I know could splice, particularly wire splicing. Yeah. It's a good background to have behind you. But, I mean, are the agencies positive, or are they just keep going on? I suppose resilience is key.
Yeah, I guess sort of stay positive all the time, which is good. But agencies have been really useful. I've had a few that have come out with multiple job offers. I think YPI as well have been very helpful with that as well. And they give me a lot of info as well, which is cool. And the good thing about the cadetship is we had about a week, just speed interviews. So sort of 15-minute slots allocated to a different agency. It's sort of like speed dating, going, chat to this guy and then move on quickly to the next person. And then sort of a conveyor belt of agency, which is really helpful.
It's nice to give you that exposure to, agencies. There are some fantastic recruitment agents out there who can really, help push you and get you into the right vessels, because it is key to get, you want to get exposure to the right vessel as your first job, because unfortunately, for some, they get on the wrong boat and they don't have a good experience, and understandably, that's it. They're like, I'm done. I don't want to be in yachting, which I think, has unfortunately been exacerbated by shows like Below Deck, which, have made out that yachting is an easy gig, that you make loads of money, you don't really do, you stand around and get drunk all day and mess around in hot tubs and everything like that, which, Jesus, it couldn't be further from the truth. But, well, that's awesome. So, I mean, what now? Where are you off to? You at home? Where is home? Down near Falmouth?
No, actually, sort of other side of go about 5 hours right. It's southeast.
Wow.
I'm by sort of near Tunbridge Wells, so it's quite a trek to get to Falmouth. So it's a big commitment, but definitely worth it. And so in terms of, I've got a few things lined up at the minute. I've got a possible thing with Florida, with Evanston. It's a sort of week's work experience over in Palm Beach, which would be really useful. It's sort of, you're not getting paid, but you get paid an experience for sure. It's really cool, and it sounds amazing, like a really busy week, but it'd be amazing if I could I've been put forward by Lauren at UKSA, which would be really cool, and it's sort of, hopefully, fingers crossed that comes through. But it's just
it's nice that you're getting this support, and kind of, I think it's so important, especially when you're starting out, that you kind of, you have the people to turn to ask, because there's a lot of people, and, unfortunately, that's where that area of exploitation comes in, because people don't know. And, you hear of horrible situations where people are, send your money here and we'll, we need you to pay this, and then we'll, get the job for you, and people getting scammed on that, fake jobs, all this kind of stuff. And it's horrendous, and it needs stamping out. So it's nice to hear that UKSA are really sort of backing their cadets and supporting them.
Definitely.
So in terms of dream job, Charlie, what would it be?
Ooh, took on a minute. Do you want us just a deckhand?
Just a job, maybe.
On a job, just get on a boat as soon as possible. No, But yeah, I think
Well,
sort of deck engineering side of things would be sort of the dream because I really want to get more into engineering. So it's quite an interesting side of things. I want to get a bit more understanding
yeah.
of that. And
Is
yeah, so
that sort of like you've got quite a mechanical sort of engineering style brain? Like in terms of when you were at school, did you do what were your A levels? Was that sort of something you? Or are you gonna?
no, I
Or are
did.
you gonna say
I was a bit
PE
patchy.
geography?
Well, no, I
Yes.
did. I did biology, geography, and business, which, looking back,
Oh,
probably
nice.
wasn't the best move from me on my part. But it was good to do them actually. Good to get a
But,
sort of know what I want to do versus what I not want to do. But yeah, I would have
so
probably
I
gone a
did.
different route if I was to do them again.
So I did politics A level as well, US and British politics. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I know all about that. And are you sort of have you been tempted into the day work aspect?
Yeah, definitely. I think if I'm obviously looking at the moment for jobs at the minute, but I think once May comes around, I probably would go with dot walking anyway, realistically, because it's a very exciting and interesting way of getting work and experience. Because obviously it's quite demanding day to day work, but it's super
Yeah.
rewarding to get that experience and get that initial foot in the door for the industry, which is quite cool.
I think it
So
is. I
definitely
think
thinking
you're
about
right. To get your face out there and to show that resilience. I think there's a lot of people that come out for day work. I wrote an article which I put on LinkedIn about helping day
yeah,
workers because we need good people. We need to attract good candidates like yourself into the
yeah,
industry but we also need to show that we support people's careers and that we protect seafarers within yachting and that it is exactly that. It's a career. It's not a flash in the pan. And I
no,
think
yeah,
that's the problem. Yachting has kind of always had this image, much like I'm going to go and do a ski season, of being that kind of, I'm just going to do it for a little bit. And it is,
yeah,
I'm 21 years in, it is a
oh, yeah,
fantastic career if you kind of knuckle down and you get support and everything along the way, which, it sounds like you started in great grounding, basically with UKSA, getting that cadetship
yeah,
and getting the support.
yeah.
So if engineering's potentially sort of deck engineering, do you think maybe, or is there a preference over motor or sail? Because there can be quite a few
Yeah.
roles that come in on sailboats as a deck engineer, sort of smaller
Yeah.
sailboats, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. I think at the minute I'm not being too picky, to be honest. I sort of just want
Yeah,
to
well,
get into the industry, really.
why?
Yeah,
Just want a job.
yeah, yeah. No, but
Uh,
I think sail. Yeah, I would like to go sail eventually. I've spoken to an officer early on in the course, which I met through just sort of chatting, and he actually did a talk with us. Oh, not talk. He came in at the last minute from a talk by Lauren actually, and I sort of spoke to him,
right.
and he was like, "Yeah, definitely go motor and sail, and sort of see what you want to do, and sort of take bits of each role and opportunity, and just see what works for you, and sort of have a bit more understanding on what each one requires." So I think definitely sail and motor are both. I want to do both realistically, and
Yeah,
get
I
a bit
think
more
if you
experience first.
can, you get exposure to both,
Fully,
then
yeah,
at least you can feel like you don't have that, well, I wonder what that was like.
yeah, yeah.
I grew up racing, well, I started in Optimists and Toppers and then
Oh,
usual kind
cool.
of, then ended up in International 14s. So I thought I was going to be sail and then I ended up on a motor yacht. And yeah, hopefully the same for you. I was very lucky. My first yacht that I worked on, Jamaica Bay, genuinely one of the best boats. And weirdly, the crew who I joined, when I joined,
Mm-hmm.
the chef, Kurt's still there. Ryan, who was the first officer, is now the rotational captain and has been for many years now.
Yeah.
Fluffy, who we used to call Fluffy, Brett, who's no longer Fluffy, he's now bald. He started a year after me. He's now
Yeah.
the first well, I say now, crikey, he's been on there for ages. He's now the rotational first officer.
Wow.
And yeah, they retain their crew because the owners on there understand happy crew, happy boat,
Yeah.
happy owner. And they don't need to see different faces each time, and they really
Yeah.
support their crew. So, and that really is like being in a family. So it's amazing. And obviously, Captain Bob's still there. He's like a piece of furniture. But it's nice when you hear those stories. And they,
Yeah.
they do really exist in this industry. There's a lot of people who have got amazing owners and been with them and really hang on to it. I call my boss, the unicorn, because unbelievable owner. I have a wicked crew and everyone. It's so nice when you really enjoy working for the person that owns the boat. because you really want to try and like raise the bar each time they come back.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's such a rewarding job when you work for someone also who's incredibly appreciative, and it's not just taken as a given. So it's nice when it's like that.
Yeah, that's really
So you're thinking, well, hopefully this role maybe comes off in Evanston in Florida, and if not, then you'll be walking the docks down in the south of France by the sounds of it.
Yeah, possibly. I think from UKSA, I might have another opportunity as well, actually. And so Lauren's been great throughout the whole process, really, sort of helping support us and keep us motivated, really. And she's put a bunch of cadets forwards for different roles and things. And one of the roles I've been put forward through is actually one of the officers is a graduate from UKSA, and so is the captain. So I've sort of been in touch with him and speaking to him about it. And I'm fingers crossed, maybe I've been put forward for joining the boat in May. So if that role doesn't fall through as well, Dockwalking is definitely the way to go. But yeah, I guess fingers crossed.
It's just anything. Just resilience is key in this industry, because also this industry changes so quickly. You know, someone hurts themselves. I always say that kind of yachting's in two waves. You have because over winter, either you've been in the Caribbean or, you know, out, well, not so much in the Middle East at the moment, sort of Seychelles, all those kind of areas. But you come over, you're either crossing from the Caribbean, and maybe, you know, some people want out on that coming back and they need to pick up crew, or you've had people who've sat on a yacht over the winter doing yard periods and maintenance, and maybe they fancy a change. So you kind of get that first wave of employment for new crew. Yeah. And then, I've always felt like there's a second wave, because maybe that first wave of new crew didn't quite realise either what the job was like, because they'd been watching things like Below Deck, and then have that reality and check, and they're like, I'm out. Yeah. Or maybe they party too much because they get carried away and then they get fired. So it's definite shifts. It's not like if you haven't got a job by June, then you're not getting a job, because also, unfortunately, due to the nature of the industry, you know, working in is a dangerous industry. You know, there's a lot of risk involved, but obviously that's taken care of or mitigated by making sure that safety standards are upheld and everything like that, which you would have learned, you know, risk assessments and permits to work and all these things in order to try and reduce that as much as possible. But unfortunately, accidents do still happen, and therefore maybe they need crew. And what do you do when you've got someone's hurt themselves on, you know, Monday, your boss is arriving on a Tuesday, and you need, for safe manning, you need that personnel. So it's very much turnkey ready. You've got to be bag packed, ready to jump on a plane. I mean, it's quite amazing, really. So, well, I just wanted to say it has been an absolute pleasure talking with you. It's so nice to see, you know, essentially, obviously you're younger than when I joined. I'm old now. But yeah, it's nice to see someone, you know, fresh-faced and with that real drive to get into an industry that I care a lot about. And yeah, I can only wish you all the luck in the world. And also anyone who's looking for a deck engineer, here we go. We've got Charlie ready to go. Charlie. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, we'll catch up.
If your brand belongs in the heart of the yachting world, this is where it happens. Yachting International Radio reaches over 1 million yachting professionals and enthusiasts every month, with 77 million impressions, 220,000 social followers, and 74,000 podcast subscribers. Our hosts are insiders, crew, captains, CEOs, trusted voices shaping the industry. This is targeted, high-impact advertising in a luxury niche. Visit yachtinginternationalradio.com/advertise. Your audience is already listening.